Presented by EA Sports in association with the PGA Tour. Today it's live opening round coverage of the Career Builder Challenge. Picking it up live down at the 10th. Frank, nothing spectacular to this point in the first round. What does the player need to do just to kind of generate some momentum?
I actually think they're playing all right, Rich. It's just, you compared to the top of the leaderboard, you start to think, well, maybe they're struggling. But there's ebbs and flows in this game. At the moment, it's sort of almost like a holding pattern.
Association with the PGA Tour.
Frank, this is a way to make golf easy.
Today it's live opening round coverage of the Career Builder Challenge.
I know that first number's a 3. I'm guessing the second one's a 2. Let's call
Picking
it 320.
it up live down at the 10th. Frank, nothing spectacular to this point in the first round. What does the player need to do just to kind of generate some momentum?
I actually think they're playing all right, Rich. It's just, you compared to the top of the leaderboard, you start to think, well, maybe they're struggling.
Well, this one should be safely on deck here.
At the moment,
presented by
almost like a
holding
holding
pattern. This second on the PGA Tour.
Frank, this is a way to make golf easy.
Today it's live opening round coverage of the Career Builder Challenge.
I know that
this
first
is
number's
a
a 3. I'm
19-foot
guessing
putt.
the second one's a 2. Let's call
Picking
it 320.
it up live down at the 10th. Frank, nothing spectacular to this point in the first round. What does the player need to do just to kind of generate some momentum?
I actually think they're playing all right, Rich. It's just, you compared to the top of the leaderboard, you start to think, well, maybe they're struggling.
Well, this one should be safely on deck here.
At the moment,
Presented by
almost like a holding pattern.
Frank, this is a way to make golf easy.
Today it's live opening round coverage of the Career Builder Challenge.
I know that
this
first
is
number's
a
a 3. I'm
19-foot
guessing
putt.
the second one's a 2. Let's call
Picking
it
it up
320.
live down at the 10th. Frank, nothing spectacular to this point in the first round. What does the player need to do just to kind of generate some momentum?
I actually think they're playing all right, Rich. It's just, you compared to the top of the leaderboard, you start to think, well, maybe they're struggling.
Well, this one should be
Ebbs and
safely
flows
on
in this
deck
game.
here.
At the moment,
Presented by
almost like a holding pattern.
this second on the PGA Tour.
Frank, this is a way to make golf easy.
Today it's live opening round coverage of the Career Builder Challenge.
I know that
This
first
is a
number's a 3. I'm
19-foot
guessing
putt.
the second one's a 2. Let's call it
Picking it up
320.
live down at the 10th. Frank, nothing spectacular to this point
Frank,
in
how
the
about
first
this
round.
one?
What does the player need to do
Long one.
just to kind of generate some momentum?
Anything over
I actually
600
think they're
yards,
playing
only the
all right.
longest it
It's
is
just,
the Bubba
you
Watsons,
compared to the
Dustin
top of the
Johnsons of
leaderboard,
world.
you start to
The
think,
other
well,
ones
maybe
that
they're
get home
struggling.
on a hole like
Well, this
this.
one
But
should
the
be
other
safely
ones,
on deck here.
on their side, it's almost like a holding pattern.
Frank, this is a way to
Nothing
make
wrong with the hole
golf
in
easy.
the par
Today
five
it's
that he
live
hit.
opening
That
round
still
coverage
played
of
a
the
three shot.
Career Builder Challenge.
I know
Some
that
restrictions
first
get
number's a 3.
rewarded
I'm
for
guessing
laying
the
up
second
there.
one's a 2.
The
Let's call
water
it
that comes in on the
320.
left-hand
Down
side,
at the 10th.
that's not going to be in play.
Frank, nothing spectacular to this point.
Frank, how about this on the fairway?
Green light special.
Just to kind of generate some momentum.
Anything over 600 yards.
Frank, for a long time, the stadium was at PGA West.
Top of the leaderboard, you start thinking maybe they're struggling on a whole lot. This one should be safe closing next year. It wasn't really unusual. A lot of people
Frank, this is the way to make
the whole
golf
is
easy.
intimidating. Such a great par 3 shot in traditional. On some reason, it's more than too close. And yet now, look, some 20, 30 years later, he dives to this point.
Frank, how about this on the fairway?
Simulate golf is one of the most innovative. Anything over 600 yards.
Frank, for a long time, the
stadium
stadium was at PGA West.
Back in the late 1980s, the trip was actually refused. It wasn't really go back.
Frank, this is the way to make golf easy.
Until 2015. Now the Career Builder Challenge.
And yet now, look, some 20, 30 years later, he dives to this point.
Frank, how about this on the fairway?
Simulate golf is one of the most innovative. Anything over 600 yards.
Frank, for a long time, the stadium was at PGA West.
Back in the late 1980s, the trip was actually refused.
It wasn't really go back.
Frank, this is the way to make golf
This on 2015. Now the Career Builder Challenge.
This one just requires a little bit of focus.
Needs a few more of those. That was a good birdie.
Yeah, this time, that one gets him in the top 10.
Now the par 4 12th, only 363 yards, but Frank, it is intricate. There's a lot involved, isn't there, in playing a hole like this?
Yeah, I think this is where you have to work out, which clubs do you hit the best? Are you better with a 9-iron? Are you better with the wedge? Because that's the distance you want to hit it to. That's how you can be aggressive, even when you're laying up.
Wow, that is a monster drive down there, about 315 yards. Frank here at the par 4 12th, getting ready for this approach shot. Good chance for a 3.
There is. Notice the contours on the green. They sort of slope towards the back and down that left side. So you can actually use that in your favor with this approach.
That's an outstanding shot right there, and it sets up a really good look at birdie. See if he can get something going here. 2 straight birdies. Comfortably inside the cut line, the young prodigy makes another birdie. You see the blend of holes here from the long par 5 to the short par 4, now to the 214-yard par 3 13th. Not looking good, Frank.
I think it's wet.
Wow, lucky break right there, Frank.
Well, that's what everyone else is going to say, except him.
Not a gimme, but well within his range. And with that birdie, moving into the top 5 on the leaderboard.
And we're starting to notice the name.
That's the end of round 1, and we saw a lot of good golf out there today, Frank.
And it was a bonus to anyone that got off to a good start today.
Presented by EA Sports and the PGA Tour. It's second round coverage of the Career Builder Challenge. Frank, the seventh is a short par 4, 346 yards. So I'm guessing it's a layup off the tee, but it might be a nervy layup because you have water on the right, and if you miss left, that's no bargain.
It's very distracting looking down the right side. I think that's the easiest way to put it. But if you can break this hole down, 346 yards, if you take 120 yards off that, which is like a wedge, then the layup only becomes like 220 yards. That seems a little less intimidating.
Right out of the center of the bat.
Did you hear that?
Frank, right where you want to be.
Oh, wouldn't be better if it was on a tee. Well, it's going to take a good one here considering what they've already gone through, Rich. Right now, that green is going to look very small, so it's going to take a good shot here to give himself an opportunity.
Some really poor play to this point.
Outstanding strike right there, right off the center of the club face, and a good chance for birdie.
Now this for birdie came away with par in the previous round.
It's a nice birdie right there.
Could not have come at a better time. Third place now.
Well, Frank, here at the par 5 eighth, 559 yards. Looks as though the player's getting a break from the water, but there is some trouble out there.
Yeah, there certainly is bunkering both on the left and the right. Once again, though, par 5s are always an opportunity for the longer hitter. Even if you stray a little offline, then it just becomes a three-shotter like it is for everybody else.
Well, that's the way you draw it up here at the eighth. You want to get it out there. He's done that, and he's kept it in the fairway. Now from a good position in the fairway, his second shot.
This could be a good one. And what a shot. Setting up for an eagle here.
Shouldn't be a problem here, but not a formality either. One or two more like that, Frank. They're going to go from third all the way to the top.
And no stopping.
Finishing out the front nine with a pretty difficult par 4. Again, water down that right side.